In this video series, we're going to be talking about all the different blocks that are available for the CEREC system. I'm going to start out with the sexiest right now, and that's the Zirconia systems. You know, ever since the CEREC Speed Fire came available, this has just been all the talk, all the new action in the CEREC world. So I'm going to start off with Zirconias. We have a number of Zirconias that are available to run through the Speed Fire system. And I'm just going to make some general statements. One, I don't really endorse any of them right now. They're all very good. They all tend to be very opaque. And that's just because of the nature of sintering fast. If you want more translucency in Zirconias, you gotta sinter a much longer amount of time. So really the goal, I think, in Chairside Zirconia is to get them out quickly and in one visit. So we have a number of Zirconias. We have VitaZ HT. We have the CEREC Zirconia, which started it all. And then Ivoclar VitaDent has their ZERK material. And then the newest one is from Kuraray. It's the Katana block, which I'll discuss at the end. Like I said a minute ago, they're all very opaque. There's some differences between each one. And I think if you are looking for the fastest Zirconia, meaning you want that crown out as fast as you can, nothing beats, let me see if I get this right one here. Yeah, the CEREC Zirconia. It's pre-colored, meaning you don't have to do anything to it. You dry mill it, which is pretty much the fastest I've seen, anywhere from about 13 to say 16 minutes for a molar. And then going through the Speed Fire oven is around 15 minutes, typically, could be less even. The only disadvantage to the Sorona CEREC blocks is that the colors of it, they're a little unusual. They're, you know, when you think of an A3 or an A4 traditional tooth colors, they don't really fall in that category. It's not that it's a bad thing, it's just that, you know, what you see on the label is a little bit different than what you are anticipating. So, but anyway, speed on this one. The next one, the VitaZ HT, it is not colored, meaning if you've milled this and sintered it, it's going to be really, really white. It's not something you probably want in any clinical situation. They are made for infiltration. So what infiltration is after you dry mill it, or you could wet mill it too, but if you dry mill it, it comes out in that kind of chalk form. You add colors into it. It's kind of like an Easter egg painting session. The colors, it's really easy. It's not that hard. You just follow the diagrams and the instructions. And what's great about this is you have total control over a polychromatic look. So you can have different colors within the crown, and it penetrates into the material, and that color actually gets infused within the zirconia. Now, the problem with the VitaZ right now, it's opaque. It doesn't have a lot of translucency to it. But the advantage to it is you have the ability to make a true polychromatic look within the zirconia. Now, as far as milling goes, I have seen that this mills almost as fast as the CEREC Zirconia, if not the same. And then the sintering time, unfortunately, takes about 10 more minutes. So you're looking at about 25 minutes of total sintering time. And that's because when you infiltrate the colors into the dry zirconia, it's no longer dry. And you can't just ramp up the temperature or the material would just explode. It would crack. And so there's a drying stage where it gets all of the water out, and that takes about 10 minutes. The next one from Ivoclar VitaDent is the ZERK material. Now, what I have to say about this is it can mill fairly quickly. It's probably on maybe just a little bit longer than what the CEREC Zirconia is. And it can go through the Speed Fire oven, but it takes a little bit more time. It takes about 30 minutes for their sintering. The ZERK material is also pre-colored, meaning you don't have to color it or anything. The color's right on the label of the block, and you can expect that color. And that's what I think a big advantage of the ZERK system from Ivoclar VitaDent is that The shades look real. They are, like when you see an A3, that is a tooth shade. It looks very similar to the Emax line. And so if you're going to do Emax, and then the ZERK head right next to it, they'll blend in pretty well. You won't see much of a difference. Now, with all the Zirconias, I need to say this, they tend to have a higher value. So an A3 may look more like an A2. So if you're going to do a traditional A2, which we all know what that looks like, traditional A2, you may want to lean on the A3 side because they tend to all have higher value. Now, Ivoclar Vivadent makes their own fast oven. It's the CS4 sintering oven, and it will take a little bit longer to sinter this, but what Ivoclar has told me is that the colors tend to look even better and you get a little bit more translucency. It's blending into that more of an Emax look. So I've not personally used that, so you'll have to see that for yourself. Now the next block that's really exciting right now is the Zirconia from Kuraray called the Katana block. This isn't a brand new material. It's been in the lab world for quite some time, but they've just made it for the Chairside system. What's great about this is that it's already pre-colored, so A3, A2, B1, and it has striations of translucency to it. So you can move your restoration within the block in the software and get more translucency in the cuss tips. This material's been pretty fascinating. It looks pretty good. It's still too opaque, but as far as fast zirconia, it looks awesome. One thing that does concern me just a little bit with the Katana block is that in the instructions, it says that you need to bond these in, which isn't really that hard, but it kind of takes away why we're using zirconia and the ease of use of traditional cementation. I'm not quite sure I know why that would be. I do know that the flexural strength of this is on the order of 750 megapascals, where the others are in the 1,000 plus megapascal range in flexural strength. So that could be part of it. But we do have other materials like Emax, which is around 500 megapascals, where we can traditionally cement. So I'm not really sure why that would be the case, but it is something to consider. I interviewed Greg Campbell. He was one of the first doctors to use Katana. I interviewed him at the Chicago Midwinter. One of the great launches recently is the new Kuraray Katana block, and I'm with my good friend Greg Campbell. He's had the great honor to actually you've used it for a while and you've seen it clinically. What are your thoughts on that?
I have. I'm very excited to be at the launch for North America, Todd. We finally have a block that's very strong, multi-layered aesthetic zirconia that we can use in our offices.
So the Katana block is stratified, like it already has the layers built into it, and then we mill it, and so we
Correct.
can control the level of translucency.
Right, you can move it up or down the block. You've got 4 layers. The 4 layers, they mimic natural tooth. So you've got the incisal layer, which is 35%, and also the bottom layer, which is 35%, and the 2 in between are 15%. So you can actually move that up and down to get the value that you're looking for that block.
Now this may seem like a weird question, but how opaque is that lower level? Because I've seen a couple and they look really good. I'm almost concerned they're too translucent. Have you found that?
I think in some cases it's about selecting the right block. So if you're doing an A2, what I'm finding is you actually want to mill an A3, so it's going to lower down that value slightly. But you do get the chrome on that lower level, right. The gingival level, the cervical layer there. And it's just learning to work with that properly, proper block selection. So I actually ran it at the very beginning as well, and it worked right through that.
Now, what is the flexural strength about?
The reported flexural strength is 763.
Okay.
So that's not bad with a 1 millimeter reduction.
1 millimeter occlusal reduction.
Yeah, for posterior.
So typical zirconia prep style?
Typical, yeah. You want to make sure you're rounded with all zirconia. You want to get rid of those compressive forces on the line angles and everything.
What has been your favorite case with the Katana block?
Well, man, I've done several. We brought a guy in and we actually did 10 posterior on him.
All at one time?
Yeah, we went, no, we actually did, well, one time on one side and the other we actually sent to a master ceramicist, we went to Sean Hahn, and we were able to compare both sides. I showed that case in Austin.
Okay.
I've done a veneer case with that as well. I've done some V-preps.
You did a veneer case with Katana?
I did. We just finished that this week.
Nice.
And it turned out quite well. So we're getting the aesthetics with this that we're looking for. It's not looking opacious. It's looking like the VitaZ shade tab. And we really have a material that's really looking with that gradation.
What would you say is the mill time and the sintering time? Well, let's just focus on sintering time.
Okay.
The sintering time, to get translucency in zirconia, tends to be hours and hours and hours.
That's
so
correct.
how are we able to get that with that Katana block?
They were really working behind the scenes on trying to get the right time, and they came up with just over 30 minutes to sinter to get for all the shades. So with some of the other manufacturers, you select, like I'm doing an A1 or A2. With this, you just select Kuraray, Zirconia, Katana, and the sintering time is the same whether it's an A1 or whether it's an A3.
Oh, so it's universal.
It's universal time. That's what they found in their testing was going to work across the board.
Okay, so that's through the Dentsply Sirona Speed Fire system.
Yes.
Have you run it or seen it at all through other sintering ovens? Or?
I know it's being tested in other systems now, but right now they were really just working directly with Dentsply Sirona to do it through the Speed Fire only. But I know that the parameters are out there for the CS4 and other ovens to do that as well. Now, earlier you asked about the milling time. The milling time, there's a fluctuation, it seems, but the average milling time that I found is somewhere between 15 and 19 minutes.
I see. So kind of a standard zirconia milled crown.
It is.
It's not different.
Also, some of the testing has shown that when I'm fast milling this, the time is significantly reduced, and it's not affecting the margins at all. I mean, you can actually fast mill this product
Now, are
as
you
well.
cementing these, or are you bonding these in?
Well, technically you can do both. The manufacturer's recommending that you bond these in. I think they're being cautious. It's a new product rollout for them. They're used to the laboratory version. But I think certainly if you have the right prep metrics, you're respecting the occlusion, I think most people will be fine also with an RMGI. I used the Panavia V5 and just had great success bonding that in.
Okay. You know, this is a great time to be in CAD/CAM chairside dentistry because, I mean, look at this. There's already a bunch of blocks that are out right now. And all of these manufacturers, I promise you, they're all looking to make it zirconia look better, faster, easier, and better looking. So stay tuned. In this video series, I want to go over the other materials like the lithium silicates, the feldspathic, and then the others, kind of like our composite resins and our temporary blocks.